Hey everyone, welcome back to Book Summary Podcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into a book that's all about unlocking your potential for success.
Oh, very cool.
It's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
I gotta say, this one really got me thinking.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to share some of these insights with you.
It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
It was originally released as a spoken word record
Wow.
back in 1956, and it went on to sell over 1 million copies.
Over 1 million copies, that's incredible.
Incredible.
Especially for that time.
Especially for that time.
It really speaks to the power of Nightingale's message, which, by the way, is just as relevant today as it was back then.
Oh, absolutely.
But before we get into the secrets themselves, Nightingale throws out this statistic that really stopped me in my tracks.
Okay.
Only 5% of people achieve real success by the age of 65.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
Well,
Why do you think the failure rate's so high?
I think Nightingale argues that a lot of it comes down to mindset.
He defines success not just as wealth or status, but as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It's about living with purpose-setting goals that are meaningful to you and actively working towards them. And unfortunately, many people never really define what success means to them.
Right.
So they're constantly chasing someone else's definition.
That's such a good point. It's like
Yeah.
we're all given these maps to someone else's treasure, and we wonder why we never find our own.
That's a great analogy.
But Nightingale isn't just pointing out the problem. He's offering a solution, and that's where the strangest secret comes in. Are you ready for this?
I think everyone listening is on the edge of their seats.
The secret is we become what we think about.
Oh.
I know it sounds almost too simple, right?
Right.
But Nightingale backs this up with quotes from some pretty heavy hitters.
Right.
Marcus Aurelius, Disraeli, Emerson, William James. This idea has been around for centuries.
Exactly. It's not some new age self-help fad.
Right.
It's a fundamental principle that's been recognized by philosophers and thinkers throughout history. And Nightingale brings it to life with this powerful analogy. He says the mind is like fertile land. Whatever you plant in it, thoughts, goals, fears is what will grow.
Okay, so that analogy really hit home for me. Think about it. If you're constantly planting seeds of doubt, worry, and negativity, guess what's going to sprout up in your life?
Yeah, trouble.
But if you focus on planting seeds of positive, purposeful thoughts aligned with your goals, that's when you start to see real change.
And this is where the idea of controlling our thoughts comes in. Nightingale argues that we have a choice. We can let our thoughts run wild like a runaway train, or we can choose to take control and steer them in the direction we want to go.
It's almost like we've been given this incredible machine, our minds, but we haven't been given the instruction manual.
Right.
Nightingale is giving us that manual, showing us how to operate this powerful tool to achieve our goals.
And one of the key tools he offers is the 30-day challenge. Now, if you're enjoying this deep dive so far, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the rest.
Great point.
Back to the 30-day challenge. Nightingale is very clear that this isn't some magic bullet. It requires effort, persistence, and a belief in yourself.
He actually calls persistence another word for faith.
Oh, wow.
Because if you truly believe in something, you'll keep pushing forward even when things get tough. So what does this challenge entail? Well, the first step is to write down your single most important goal. And this needs to be specific. It's not enough to say, I want to be rich. You need to define what that looks like for you. How much money do you want to earn by doing what?
And it has to be a goal that truly resonates with you, not just something you think you should want. It has to be something that lights you up inside, that gets you out of bed in the morning with a sense of purpose.
All right, once you have that clearly defined goal, Nightingale says you need to visualize yourself achieving it. Really picture it how it feels, what you're doing, the impact it has on your life. And you need to do this regularly throughout the day, replacing any negative thoughts with this positive vision of your success.
And here's where the action comes in. It's not enough to just sit around thinking about your goal. You have to act as if it were impossible to fail. You have to start taking concrete steps, even if they're small, to move towards it.
I love that it's about aligning your actions with your thoughts, creating this powerful synergy that propels you forward. Okay, so that's 2 parts of the challenge: defining your goal, visualizing success, and taking action. What else does Nightingale suggest?
He emphasizes the importance of giving more than you've ever given before. And this isn't just about money. It's about giving your time, your energy, your talents, your kindness. It's about providing value to others.
And this ties in beautifully with his principle of the law of mutual exchange, right? He argues that financial success is a result of success, not the cause. True success comes from providing valuable service to others.
Think about it this way. If you constantly focused on what you can get, you're going to limit your potential. But if you focus on what you can give, on how you can serve others, that's when abundance starts to flow into your life.
It's like shifting your focus from me to we, from scarcity to abundance.
Yeah.
Okay, last part of the 30-day challenge, Nightingale says you need to remind yourself of the power of asking and believing. He even quotes the Sermon on the Mount here. Ask and it shall be given. You seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. He's saying that often all we need is a clear purpose and unwavering faith to achieve our goals.
And he backs this up with stories of people who achieved incredible things simply by asking for what they wanted and believing they could achieve it.
So there you have it, the 30-day challenge. Define your goal. Visualize success. Take action. Give more than you take, and believe in the power of asking. It's a simple yet profound framework for transforming your life. But Nightingale doesn't stop there. He also shares 6 steps from psychiatrist Dr. David Harold Fink that can help you realize success, which we'll get into after a quick break. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into books that can change your life. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Welcome back, everyone. Now, before the break, we were talking about those 6 steps to success outlined by psychiatrist Dr. David Harold Fink.
Right. These are like practical strategies for putting Nightingale's principles into action, for aligning your thoughts and actions with your desired outcome. And what I found so fascinating is how much emphasis Fink puts on the power of our subconscious mind.
Absolutely. He argues that our subconscious mind is incredibly powerful, but it's also very impressionable. It accepts whatever we feed it, whether it's positive or negative. So the first step is to set a definite goal to clearly define what you want to achieve.
That aligns perfectly with what we were talking about earlier, with Nightingale's emphasis on having a specific, clearly defined goal. It's like setting the coordinates for your internal GPS.
Exactly. And the second step is to stop negative self-talk. This is where we start to reprogram our subconscious minds by eliminating those limiting beliefs that are holding us back.
You know, I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. We have these voices in our heads that tell us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy of success. And those voices can be so loud that they drown out any positive thoughts we might have.
Nightingale talks about this too. He says that most of these negative beliefs are actually implanted in our minds during childhood, often by well-meaning adults who are simply repeating what they had been told.
It's like we inherit these limiting beliefs without even realizing it. But the good news is we can change them. We can choose to focus on our strengths, on our successes, on all the reasons why we can achieve our goals. And that's Fink's third step, to focus on the reasons for success.
It's about shifting your perspective from dwelling on what might go wrong to focusing on what could go right. It's about building your confidence and belief in yourself.
The fourth step is to analyze those limiting beliefs from childhood that we were just talking about, to really examine them, to question their validity, and to start replacing them with positive affirmations.
It's like weeding your mental garden, pulling out those pesky weeds of doubt and negativity so that your seeds of success have a chance to flourish.
Okay, 2 more steps to go. The fifth step is to craft a description of your ideal self. Who do you want to become? What qualities do you want to embody?
This is where you get to paint a picture of your future self, your best self, the person you aspire to be.
And then the sixth step, the final step, is to act as that successful person, to start behaving, thinking, and making decisions as if you were already that person.
It's about embodying your vision, aligning your actions with your beliefs.
I love how practical and actionable these steps are. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about taking concrete steps to create the life you want.
And it all comes back to Nightingale's core message: we become what we think about, but thinking is only the first step we need to take action, to cultivate those thoughts, to nurture them, to give them the space and energy they need to grow.
Speaking of growth, one of the things that really excited me about this book was the bonus section on how to create million-dollar ideas.
Ah, yes. This is where Nightingale taps into the incredible power of creativity that resides within each of us. He argues that everyone has a gold mine between their ears, this untapped potential for generating innovative ideas.
And he emphasizes that nothing in the world has yet been done perfectly. There's always room for improvement, for innovation, for fresh perspectives. And that's what creativity is all about, finding new and better ways to do things, to solve problems, to create value.
But for a lot of people, that creative spark gets dimmed as we get older. We get bogged down in routines and the right way of doing things. We forget to tap into that boundless imagination we had as children.
That's so true. I remember when I was a kid, I would spend hours building forts out of blankets, writing stories, coming up with inventions. It was like my mind was this endless playground of possibilities, and somewhere along the way, that sense of wonder got buried under the weight of responsibility and practicality.
But Nightingale assures us that it's never too late to rekindle that creative flame. It's just a matter of dusting off those neglected mental muscles and giving ourselves permission to play, to experiment, to think outside the box.
It even provides a list of 25 characteristics common to creative people. It's like a checklist for unlocking your inner innovator.
Some of these characteristics include drive, courage, knowledge, optimism, a willingness to take chances, and a sense of humor. It's fascinating to consider how these traits contribute to the creative process.
And Nightingale encourages us to assess our own strengths and weaknesses based on this list. It's not about being perfect in all 25 areas, but about recognizing where we can grow, where we can push ourselves to develop our creative potential.
Now, if you're finding this exploration of creativity as fascinating as we are, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. But getting back to the book, one of the tools Nightingale highlights for sparking creativity is the power of asking open-ended questions.
These are questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. They require more thought, more exploration. Think of questions that start with who, what, when, where, why, which, how, and if.
What's fascinating about these questions is how versatile they are. They can be used to gather information, build relationships, spark creative brainstorming sessions, and even challenge our own assumptions.
For example, instead of telling someone about your amazing product or idea, you could ask, what are the most important features you look for in a product like this? Or what are some of the challenges you faced when trying to solve this problem?
By asking open-ended questions, you're not only gaining valuable insights, but you're also making the other person feel heard and respected. It's a powerful way to build rapport and foster collaboration.
And Nightingale emphasizes the importance of listening to the answers. It's not about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about being genuinely curious, about seeking to understand different perspectives.
Absolutely. And from this foundation of curiosity and open-mindedness, Nightingale outlines 7 specific techniques for stimulating creative thought.
These are like mental tools for unlocking your imagination, for breaking free from those rigid thought patterns that can stifle creativity. And he illustrates each technique with real-world examples, which makes them so much easier to understand and apply.
So shall we take a look at these 7 techniques? I think our listeners are ready to unleash their inner creative genius.
I'm with you on that. Let's dive in. The first technique is called association. This involves connecting ideas to familiar objects or words to improve memory and spark new connections.
For example, if you're trying to remember a person's name, you might associate it with a vivid image or a rhyming phrase. Or if you're working on a marketing campaign, you might try to associate your product with a feeling or an experience that resonates with your target audience.
It's about making those mental links, creating those bridges between the familiar and the new, which can lead to unexpected insights and breakthroughs.
The second technique is combination. This is all about blending different elements to create something new and innovative.
Think about how chocolate and peanut butter came together to create that irresistible treat, or how the combination of a phone and a camera revolutionized the way we communicate and capture memories.
In a business context, you might combine 2 different services to offer a more comprehensive package, or you might merge 2 departments to create a more efficient workflow. It's all about finding those synergistic combinations that create something greater than the sum of its parts.
The third technique is adaptation. This involves taking something existing and finding a new use for it.
A classic example is how those little silica gel packets that come in shoe boxes ended up being used to prevent moisture damage in everything from electronics to important documents.
Or think about how the humble shipping container revolutionized global trade by providing a standardized, efficient way to transport goods across oceans and continents. It's all about looking at things with fresh eyes, seeing the potential beyond the intended use.
The fourth technique is substitution. This is all about finding alternatives, whether it's using plant-based milk instead of dairy milk, finding a more sustainable packaging material, or replacing a traditional marketing campaign with a viral social media strategy.
It's about challenging the status quo, exploring different options and finding solutions that are more efficient, more effective, or more aligned with your values.
Techniques 5 and 6, magnification and minification, are pretty straightforward. Think bigger or think smaller. The skyscraper is a result of magnification. The microchip is a result of minification.
And these concepts can be applied to any field. You could magnify the impact of your marketing campaign by reaching a wider audience, or you could minify your product to make it more portable and convenient. It's all about playing with scale and perspective.
And finally, the 7th technique is rearrangement. This involves changing the order, sequence, or structure of something to create something new or improved.
Like how turning a coat inside out led to the creation of the reversible coat, or how rearranging furniture can completely transform a room.
Or think about how Henry Ford revolutionized manufacturing with the assembly line, which rearranged the order of tasks to create a more efficient production process. It's about shaking things up, breaking free from those ingrained patterns, and seeing what new possibilities emerge.
These 7 ways of thinking are like a mental playground. It's so fun to explore different possibilities, to stretch your imagination, to tap into that childlike sense of wonder and curiosity.
And remember, the goal here isn't just to come up with ideas for the sake of having ideas. It's about using these techniques to solve real-world problems, to create value, to make a difference in the world. And that's what we'll delve into in the final part of this episode, how to turn creative sparks into tangible results. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You know, I'm really starting to understand why this book has had such a lasting impact. It's not just about positive thinking.
Right.
It's about giving us a framework for turning those positive thoughts into concrete actions, tangible results. And that's what I'm most excited to dive into now.
Okay.
How do we actually bridge that gap between thinking and doing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And Nightingale doesn't shy away from it. He dedicates a whole section to problem-solving, decision-making, and goal achievement, arguing that they're all interconnected, different facets of creative thinking and action.
So it's not just about having great ideas.
Right. Yeah.
It's about having a process for turning those ideas into reality. Makes sense. Where do we even begin?
Well, just like with setting a personal goal, the first step is to clearly define the problem you're trying to solve.
Okay.
What are the boundaries? What are the specific parameters you're working within?
It's like setting a destination before you embark on a journey. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Yeah.
But you might end up somewhere you didn't want to be.
Exactly. And Nightingale emphasizes the importance of thoroughness in this stage.
Okay.
Don't just skim the surface, really dig deep to understand the root of the problem. He even uses the phrase, a problem well stated is a problem half solved.
Okay, so we've defined the problem. What's next? Do we jump right into brainstorming solutions?
Not so fast. Nightingale stresses the importance of gathering all the information you can before you start generating ideas.
Okay.
Tap into your own experience, do some research, talk to experts, gather data. The more you understand the problem, the better equipped you'll be to come up with effective solutions.
That makes sense. It's like a doctor wouldn't prescribe medication without first diagnosing the illness. Right? You need to understand the underlying cause before you can find the right treatment.
Precisely now, once you've armed yourself with knowledge, it's time to unleash the power of your imagination. And Nightingale suggests starting with individual brainstorming.
Okay.
This is where you let your mind run wild, jotting down every idea that pops into your head, no matter how crazy it seems.
So no judgment at this stage, right? Just pure, unadulterated idea generation.
Exactly. The goal here is quantity, not quality. You can always refine and filter later. The key is to create a space where your imagination can flow freely without the constraints of self-censorship.
I love that it's like giving yourself permission to play, to explore, to be a kid again, just letting those ideas bubble up without fear of judgment.
And once you've exhausted your own creative wellspring, Nightingale suggests trying a group brainstorm.
Well,
Gather a few other people, clearly present the problem, and then let the ideas fly.
there's something magical about group brainstorming, isn't there? One person's idea can spark another, leading to a chain reaction of creative breakthroughs.
Absolutely. It's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And just like with individual brainstorming, it's crucial to have a no-judgment policy during the group session.
Right? Let those ideas flow freely, even if they seem silly or impractical at first. You never know where that spark of inspiration might lead. Okay, so we've got a mountain of ideas from both individual and group brainstorming. What's next? How do we sift through the gold and find those nuggets of brilliance?
That's where the critical thinking comes in. Now it's time to evaluate those ideas to separate the wheat from the chaff. Nightingale recommends using a few different scales to rate the ideas.
Okay.
How effective is it likely to be? How easy is it to implement? How much time and money will it require?
It's like using a filter to separate the sand from the gold, right? Not every idea will be a winner, and that's okay. The goal is to identify the ones with the highest potential for success.
Precisely. And once you've identified those top contenders, it's time to create an action plan.
Okay.
This is where you translate ideas into concrete steps, assigning roles, setting deadlines, outlining resources needed.
I love how Nightingale emphasizes the importance of deadlines. It's so easy to get stuck in planning mode and never actually take action. But setting clear deadlines creates a sense of urgency and helps us stay on track.
He also points out that taking action often involves stepping outside our comfort zones.
Right.
There's always a risk of failure. But as he wisely says, mistakes are often stepping stones to success. Success never crowns those afraid to try.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to experiment, to learn from our mistakes, and to keep iterating until we find a solution that works.
Exactly. And that's where Nightingale leaves us with this challenge.
Hmm.
To make creative thinking a way of life, to constantly question, to explore, to push beyond the boundaries of what's already been done. He argues that anyone can be creative. It's a skill that can be developed with practice and dedication.
And the rewards are immense, right? Not just financial success, but a life filled with purpose, meaning, and continuous growth. So as we wrap up this deep dive into The Strangest Secret, I want to leave you with this question that Nightingale poses. What will you do to make the world a better place because you were here?
It's a powerful question that invites us to consider the impact we want to have on the world, to tap into our unique talents and passions, and to use our creative energy to make a positive difference.
And if you're looking for more inspiration and practical advice on how to unlock your potential and achieve your goals, be sure to check out Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret. It's a book that truly has the power to transform lives. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our future episodes. Thanks for joining us.